I gotta check out the Bryan Kohberger complaint record and the disciplinary logs. I need to know what's in there.
Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy.
Okay.
Many other inmates are housed in J Block in Idaho's maximum security institution too. But BK doesn't like it there.
Bryan doesn't like it in jail. He doesn't like it? Is he having a bad time in there? Does he feel like his rights were taken away? Does he feel like he's no longer a member of society?
Unit on July 29th. That medical unit may be where this video was taken. It's a larger cell where Kohberger was being assessed when he first arrived.
Okay, also, all right, y'all, if you haven't seen this video popped up for me on TikTok the other day. I guess you guys know a lot of inmates have cell phones or they find ways to record things. And this is an actual video of Bryan in his cell. And I actually watched this on TikTok about 40 times with the sound off because it's so insane. This is all Bryan Kohberger has to do. He just walks around his cell and he like puts something down and then he just sits there pensively because he is in prison and that's all there is to do. That is it, Bryan. This is your life now. This is it. Also, I'm not going to lie. It is very eerie seeing this video of this convicted murderer and it's now on TikTok. If anything, right now, listen, I need this to be the moment that you realize like the internet has converged with whatever reality this is. You get what I'm saying? Like this is kind of weird, right?
But back to the complaints. They started on July 27th when BK was in that medical unit. He wrote,
I don't like the calling him BK. Feels a little too casual. You guys know this. I hate when they give murderers interesting names like the Night Stalker and the Zodiac Killer. This was a strange practice in the 70s and 80s that I find absolutely disgusting, where they almost gave these people celebrity status and cool names. BK isn't necessarily a cool name, but it's a little bit too casual for me. My preferred method is when they just no longer name the person at all, but here we are.
I need access to the JPay system to access and complete an order drafted on and a full commissary menu. When attempting to access JPay, I am given an error that I am not set up in the system in the C Block kiosk. May I be temporarily moved into the system to do so? Thank you for your assistance.
Oh, okay. So personally to me, basically what this means is Bryan got some commissary, probably from a high-risk-ophiliac. You might sit here and say, oh, it could be his family. It could be his... Did you see the way his sister looked at him in that courtroom? She only showed up on the final day. Okay? Maybe some family, but you know high-risk-ophiliacs, women that are in love with killers, are definitely sending Bryan Kohberger commissary. And he's like, let me cash in this couple $100. And then what's going to happen? Somebody's going to take it.
Then a captain responded, Mr. Kohberger, I spoke with you at your cell on 7/30/25. Getting set up in JPay can take a few days. After moving to a new location, Corporal White is following up with JPay on your access. Then on July 30th, BK wrote 2 complaints. In the first, he actually complained about his lunch. Take a look. BK wrote, I did not receive my lunch on 7/30/2025, despite inquiring. Although I understand that the tier became hectic, it was never communicated to me that I would be unable to receive a new bag. The next shift was not aware of this either. I wish to access this. I have a right to this meal. Thank you.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Sure. Does everybody have access to their meals? Of course. Yeah. I don't think that Bryan Kohberger ever thought that there was a world where he would have to beg for food in the prison system because he put himself in there through one of the most heinous acts that we've heard in the media in the last 10 years. And now you're in here with your little pen and paper. I have rights to that food. Dude, it's wild because we all know why he's in here. We all know why.
Then it says, I have tried to resolve this problem informally by speaking with staff several times. I suggest the following solution for the problem.
Ooh.
In the future, I wish to receive my lunch without exception. This could be accomplished by sending for the replacements as rapidly as possible.
I really would not doubt, and I'm just being real here, that somebody is intentionally withholding food from Bryan Kohberger because he's a, quote, celebrity inmate and they think it's funny. I really wouldn't be surprised. It's probably some form of taunting or hazing or something like that. That's what I personally think.
Now, that same day, there was another complaint where he requested a transfer. Again, it's difficult to read these. Bryan Kohberger's handwriting is not the greatest. This states, as a
Shots fired! Anjanette, why are you hitting with that? I mean, go ahead.
I continue the SPI phase. I wish to discuss if I may be transferred to another ADSEG setting, such as B block, not engaging in any of the recent flooding/striking, as well as being subject to minute-by-minute verbal threats and harassment, and that our other bases, Unit 2 of J block, is an environment that I wish to transfer from. If possible, I request transfer to B block immediately. I wish to speak with you soon.
Yes, and if you didn't hear, I'm not sure if they're going to go over this in Law and Crime, but I did discuss this before. Part of the harassment that Bryan Kohberger was getting was they yelled through the vents, the only ass we're going to be eating is Kohbergers. Or, I'm sorry, was it burgers? Yes, I am correct on that. They yelled through the vents, the only ass we'll be eating is Kohbergers.
Staff member responded, Mr. Kohberger, on any tier at IMSI, there are sometimes disruptions to operations such as residents flooding. This is actually where they clog up their toilets on purpose. On J2, it is a relatively rare occurrence, and J2 is generally a fairly calm and quieter tier. I do not think that B block would be any better for you. Give it some time.
Damn, he said, get used to it. You're in prison now. Holy shit, this is crazy. I also just want to see what are the dates between these. Let's see, collected, received 7/31. Like, he just got there. Okay, yeah, dude, he's firing these all off within a couple days of each other. He literally just got there. Wood Sorrell said, what was he jailed for? He was jailed for murdering 4 college students in their beds in their own home.
Then on July 31st, Bryan Kohberger complained yet again about food missing from his meals. Kohberger wrote, I have on several occasions not received all items of food on my tray. I addressed this during service and have yet to receive any replacements. In fact, the kitchen is not even called. The policy book confirms items missing, which are pointed out at the time of service, will be replaced. I wish to, without exception, receive these replacements.
Once again, I personally think that in some capacity, Bryan Kohberger is being hazed, okay? Whether it's by the guards, other inmates that are working in the cafeteria, like whatever it may be. He's being hazed. And look, hey, street rules, just real shit. If you don't react to it for 6 months to 2 years, they might stop. And then also, if anybody, listen, I told you, I'm having a day today. If anybody in here is like, well, he's entitled to food and this is just wrong. Dude, fuck you. He murdered 4 fucking college students and he's getting hazed in jail and they're taking his buns every now and then. No metaphor. They're withholding the milk. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, it... Really? I don't know. Fuck off.
It states, I have tried to solve this problem informally by addressing this issue with staff at the time of meal service. I suggest the following solution for the problems. I wish for the items to be called for and items replaced. When this occurs, the nutritional standard is not being upheld unless I receive my full tray.
On August 3rd, 2025, resident Kohberger submitted a concern form saying that he has been subject to threats and harassment, recently escalating to overtly sexually violent threats and statements. The lieutenant received a concern form on August 4th, 2025, and conducted an interview with Kohberger in the J block. Kohberger stated a resident that goes by Peru told him, oh, I know what this one says. This is blurred out, but I read it in the report. He told him, I'll butt fuck you. Kohberger also stated an unknown resident from the tier 1 of J block said, the only ass we'll be eating is Kohbergers. Kohberger stated that Officer Signorio was presented for comment made by Peru. Due to the officer being on B nights, an interview could not be conducted to attempt to corroborate the allegation. So here's the thing. They have done their due diligence and they are unable to corroborate that Peru actually said this to Bryan Kohberger. So he could be lying. I'm going to jail. I'm literally going to jail. I should not be streaming today. I don't think a lot of people understand that prison is like a totally different world. You would not believe a lot of shit that happens in there, okay? Spend a little time on... Did you guys ever hear what happened to Larry Nassar when he got to the jail and he was not in protective custody? Now, I've told this before, and this is a story that came from the inmates. So, sure, if you want, take it with a grain of salt. But like, I've seen this in quite a few places. With Larry Nassar, who sexually abused hundreds of young girls, gaslit the medical board, and then kept his job and continued to do it in the Olympics for years and years and years. When he got to jail, they beat that man so badly that they said that his fingers were like paper on the concrete because every single bone in his hands were broken. They were shattered. They put something in his rectum so far that the intention was for it to come out of his mouth, okay? And guys, that is only 10% of what they did to Larry Nassar when he got to the jail. You are outside of society. You consciously committed an act. You were not sleepwalking. This was planned. This was conscious. Both of them committed acts and they placed themselves outside of society. And in the very least, being in jail when you are protected and you are away from these inmates that know what you did, and you're just having the milk stolen off your tray, or maybe lunch didn't come at noon, like you're getting hazed, okay? You're getting hazed. And if anything, this should be a message to anybody that has any violent thoughts or wants to do something fucking stupid. When you commit acts that place yourself outside of society, this is where you end up, and this is how you get treated sometimes. And I'm just saying that's the way the world works. That's like where we're at, That's like where we're at. And so like, I say this because you guys know, I'm sure you've seen it before. How many of you guys have seen Kohberger defenders online, or people that want to morally grandstand with like, I can't believe people are celebrating this or wanting this or something like that. And I'm like, dude, when you commit an act that places you outside of society and now you're in the prison system, getting your lunch taken away, that's like literally like nothing compared to what happens to a lot of people in prison. It's just, I don't know what to tell you.
Kohberger was placed in long-term restrictive housing on July 29th in a cell by himself. He's in there 23 hours per day, but he's
in there 23 hours a day for his own protection, because if they let him out, he's going to do so much worse. So sit down, relax, get used to it. You did what you did, and this is your life now.
Bryan Kohberger, I feel like, thinks that this is a hotel. This is prison, maximum security prison. He is doing 4 consecutive life sentences for the slaughter, the horrific, unnecessary slaughter of Maddie Mogan, Kayla Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. And he's complaining about his lunch.
Dude,
not particularly self. Now, most murderers have some sort of emotional problem. It's unusual to be a murderer or even a mass murderer. But when he entered into a plea bargain so that the death penalty would be taken off the table, perhaps he didn't realize what he was bargaining for, which is for the rest of his life.
Yes.
Other people control his movements. Other people control what he eats. The inmates, who are other people, control whether he sleeps or not, because we have reports that they are yelling into the vents on shifts. They've organized themselves to keep him from sleeping. This will go on, depending on his health, for another 40 or 50 years.
He seems to me to be somebody who's very into rules and regulations. He's citing the policy manual because the nutritional standard for his lunch is not being upheld, and he wants the food that was missing from his tray delivered immediately. And this seems
and y'all know the high bristophiliacs are writing him in jail like, that is just crazy. You need to file an XYZ. Motherfucker, you're in prison. You are in prison. Just wait for Ash Trevino to call, okay? Like, have a seat, sit down. This is your life now. And there's going to be times when it gets even worse than this. You know why? Because also they know that they're getting to him now. Would you guys not agree that now that there's been so much press that went out, like his actual complaints that are out there, that the harassment is probably worse in jail because the prisoners know that they can get something out of him. They can create press by doing things to Kohberger.
What a strange circumstance where someone who's a PhD student doesn't understand what irony is. Complaining about rules being allegedly broken after having, as you said, violated the most serious law we have. Now, I will say this.
Oh my God. Okay. Sometimes, guys, we watch stuff where there's like the commentators that are talking about all this stuff. And like, sometimes I'll be like, yo, what are they saying? These fools are fucking spitting right now. They said he's complaining about rules when he broke the number one moral rule, which is don't kill people. He broke the utmost rule in society, and then he's complaining about things not being followed by the book. You gotta be kidding me. You have to absolutely be kidding me.
So, for better or worse, most states do have rules about how the prisons are run. You see this more in some states than in others, and prisoners are given certain rights under the Constitution. I don't have an opinion about whether or not the rules have been broken or what his remedy is. He's just not really, to use a term, reading the room to understand that to the extent that anybody cares what he thinks, that he's abusing the notion that somehow some rules were bent.
He specifically asked to get changed to another cell, and they wrote this fool back and they said, You're in the quieter place. You're in the nice place. Have a seat. Sit down. You know what? I don't think I've ever said this before. There's women that will write to the judge that will beg for the death penalty to be taken off, like the something to be taken off, or to like lower the sentence, or like, oh my God, he didn't do it. And like those letters are saved by the state. And I want those letters. I got the Wade Wilson letters, and now I want the Kohberger letters. Because who the fuck? Y'all are with me, right? You know chicks are writing to this dude, and they're writing to the judge and saying a whole bunch of crazy shit. I need to know. I need to know. I don't need to put any names out. I just need to know what y'all saying.
I want to move on to the sexual harassment part of this.
Yes.
He is somebody who, at Washington State University, we're now learning,
Yep.
was studying sexual burglary. That was his field of study.
That is terrifying.
His cell phone revealed a massive number of searches for non-consensual sex pornography of women
did not know that.
being forced into sex acts against their will.
She's about to say that he's complaining about people yelling through the vents. I'm going to butt fuck you. Also, I'm sorry. I do just need to say this. It's crazy that they use the phrase butt fuck. Like that is, I haven't heard that one in a while.
Now he's complaining that these inmates are making these comments to him, which I'm not advocating sexual assault or sexual harassment. I'm not saying that at all. But to me, I look at these things, and this to me seems like, well, this is just disgusting, gross prison stuff. That like, this is no, there are no angels in this prison. And
She has to dance around it because people like to echo a talking point of, I can't believe people are calling for sexual assault of this man. Listen, we're just talking about what was said through the vents, but she's also bringing to light the irony that he's in fear in his cell where he's perfectly safe while he was outside searching non-consensual pornography and then killed 4 college students. Like, who? Whenever I see a Kohberger defender, I'm like, check the hard drive.
And this is the way these guys talk. It's gross. I don't like it, but it seems a little rich to me that somebody accused of a number of acts of sexual harassment on the Washington State University campus, and somebody who was viewed by professors in the criminology department at Washington State University as a predator. People thought he was going to be a future This is in the police reports. Ooh. His colleagues at Washington State is now complaining about sexual harassment.
Anjanette Levy, we haven't heard her before on the channel. She's spitting. Okay, we'll watch for more Anjanette. I'm in.
It's troubling in some ways that he thinks he has this power over what he can do. In my career as a prosecutor and as an acting judge, I've interacted with hundreds of inmates of jails and prisons. There is a roughness to these male prisons. There is it's crude, it's debasing in many ways, and humor of a sexual nature and aggressive threats of a sexual nature are not uncommon. He's now finding that out because of his high profile, because he is a known quantity. He may not.
Also, okay, I'm so sorry. I'm really going off today. I'm just going to call it the elephant in the room. Half the reason that the prisoners are saying some of this shit to him is because some of them think it's funny. Let's just be real for a second. If you guys are all in jail and Kohberger is nearby, like, I know that this stuff is very serious, but think about it. Like, they are prisoners. Like, half of the shit that they say, they're trying to make the other prisoners laugh. And, like, one person randomly yelling, the only ass we're going to be eating is Kohberger's. I don't think that comment is created to elicit fear in Bryan Kohberger. I think it's actually to make the other inmates laugh. Like, if it was, like, a direct threat, I think it would be a little bit different. But they are saying this through the vents. bored, making each other laugh because they don't like Bryan Kohberger. Also, somebody else mentioned this in chat, and I fully agree. They mentioned that he wanted to be a high-profile criminal, and this is the result. And the sheer irony of that is he only thought about what the power would look like of being a, quote, high-profile murderer outside of jail in society. But in prison, this is the result of that. And he is a, quote, high-profile criminal. That's why he's kept in his cell 23 hours a day. He had no idea what life was going to be like on the other side of this. And it's insane to watch. It's insane. I'm very curious to see what this, did they say ex-convict says?
He believes any harassment he has received from the other residents will die down once media coverage slows. He is hopeful that he can one day have recreation with others and live with others like him, just like another high-profile resident on J2 does. So the minute I got these documents, I said to myself, I have to reach out to Larry Levine to see what he has to say about this. He is a prison consultant, founder of Wall Street Prison Consultants, and the author of the book, Prison Politics. So Larry,
it's a different
Bryan
world.
Kohberger is complaining. We already knew he was complaining. We talked about this last week. Now we have the kites. Those are those written grievance complaint forms. He's not getting his lunch when he wants it. He wants the replacement, and he says he's been sexually harassed. What say you?
That's not sexual harassment because inmates talk like that all the time. I'm going to do this.
Listen, Larry can say things that other people that host shows can't. Okay.
I've been in the shoe before in different places where people were shouting things back and forth. They're just doing that to get into his head.
Yeah,
that's really, I mean, in the free world, that might be considered sexual harassment. But inside a prison, nobody cares. And he's just whining and finding reasons to complain about, I don't know, everything. And the staff, they're not going to care. They're really not. You can say whatever you want. And this will go on forever. They're getting in his head. They know what it is they're doing. So in my opinion, too bad for him. He killed 4 kids. People want to screw with his head. Hey, he's going to have to suck it up, Angie.
And here's what else is crazy, too. I think that the prisoners that say this type of stuff to him, like, I'm sorry, the phrase, I'm going to butt f you, like, that's so unserious, okay? It's just, like, the phrasing in itself is unserious. The prisoners that are saying this stuff, these are not the people that are going to catch Bryan. It's going to be some weird guy that wasn't saying anything through the vents, okay?
This is what I'm thinking too. I mean, the minute I read this, I thought to myself, this is almost like hazing. He's the new kid on the block.
Yes.
Well,
and Peru or whomever is like, he's like, let's mess with this guy. Let's see how far we can push him. Let's like break him in. And, nobody should be physically or sexually harmed or anything. But I'm thinking to myself, that's what's going on here. The minute I read that complaint.
These people in the shoe, especially at that facility, they're doing forever, which means they're never getting out. They don't care.
They don't give a shit.
What kind of sanction? Let's say the institution decided they were going to punish them, these people that are harassing him allegedly. Let's say they were in general population, but they were living in a cell and they got out and all this stuff. They would put them in the shoe as a punishment. But these people are already living in the shoe. They're already doing forever.
Yeah, they don't care.
So it's not going to really matter, Angie. It's not going to matter at all. He's going to have, that's his new life. They're going to say this stuff to him. Nobody is going to be able to get to him, although I hope they do. But really, no one is going to be able to get to him. He could call it sexual harassment. You're right about the hazing. He could call it whatever he wants, but nobody is going to care. And I mean, absolutely nobody. I'm sure there are people cheering whoever that is on.
Yes.
And this guy who's saying this stuff to Bryan or to Kohberger, I don't want to even give him a first name. This other inmates that's saying things to Kohberger, he knows exactly what he's doing. And Kohberger's probably whining and complaining, and they're just feeding the whole thing. You know what I mean?
This sounds like prison life as usual. And when I say that, as you said, they're in the SHU, if you will. They're in administrative segregation. So that means they all have their own cells. He's moved only when he's not around other inmates. He's in shackles when it happens, as are the other inmates. So, I mean, you're right. This is his new life. This is what it's going to be like.
This is the beginning.
And he's requested a transfer. And they were like, actually, you're like, he wants to be moved to another block. And they said, no, you're actually in a pretty good block. You're in J block. So suck it up, Buttercup.
He's in the SHU. I mean, this isn't like he's calling whoever booking.com and saying, gee, I want to get a transfer. I have clients that hire me, and sometimes I can get them into the facility they want. But I let people know I'm not your travel agent. I can follow policy. He's in a state prison. They only have one maximum prison in the state of Idaho, that prison. They only have one SHU. They don't have a special cell block for other people. He's probably in there with death row people also.
If you are trying to apply real world morals and ethics into prison, you have to understand it's a totally different world. It's a totally different world. You would be shocked if you even just spent a couple hours in there or talking to these people. It is a form of social exile. And when these people are exiled, they create their own rules, laws, politics. It's a totally different world, okay? And I don't know what else to tell you.
But it doesn't really matter, Angie, where they send Kohberger, because wherever he goes, he's going to get this hazing. People are going to know who he is.
Yes.
They're going to know he's there. The cops will let the other inmates know that he's there. So this is it. He's kind of stuck with this forever.
Probably should have thought about that before he murdered 4 people, 4 college kids. So this thing about not getting the food, I didn't get my lunch, and my lunch was missing food when I did get it.
Okay.
Is that just kind of prison life?
I don't know how that happened.
There is no set time, quote unquote. Let's say, remember, they got a lot of people to feed. So let's say they're going to feed the SHU between 10 and noon. We'll just use lunch as an example. They can come anytime they want. They don't have to tell him why. Maybe they're short staffed. Maybe they were short food in the kitchen. It could have been any of a number of reasons. And there's always things that are missing from the menu. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this guy's a vegetarian, or he claims that he is. So dude, maybe he's...
those veggie meals in prison are the fucking worst. They are the worst.
He's getting his food when everyone else is getting it. They're giving Kohberger what they have available. Nobody's making any special effort to give him anything extra. You know what? This isn't like it's his last meal and he wants a quart of like chocolate chip ice cream or something. He's on a regular prison routine to get his food at whatever prescribed time the institution decides they're going to feed him. This is just another attempt for him to whine, moan, and complain about his custody. And that's it. There's nothing that can be done. He can file all the grievances that he wants, and they'll just end up in the circular file because nobody cares.
Yeah, it's been interesting to read these, and basically they've told him, yeah, okay, whatever. And he's talking about, well, I read the manual and, the policy book, and it says the nutritional guidelines are X, Y, and Z.
Well, there's probably, I haven't read them, although I'm getting a lot of requests from news media to talk about this. I'm sure there's a little asterisk somewhere on that page that says when available at the staff's whatever. They always give themselves an out. And he's trying to live his life and such by taking the guidelines seriously, or taking the institutional manual seriously. That's kind of like an outline as far as this is what we should be doing. But they can alter that anytime they want.
Yeah, I personally think that there are women writing to him in prison, and he's probably complaining about this stuff, and they're just telling him he can do no wrong. Or also, maybe he's just bored.
So again, he's just going to have to suck it up. I mean, as far as the other inmates violating his rights, if he had read the book I sent him, Prison Politics 101,
Did he just sell me that book? And then we'll put it in the video. Whatever. It might be prison politics. Yo, he running a business. I can't believe it. I actually cannot believe it.